Hello, friends. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I picked these up and I want to review them, but I also want to talk about Tales of the Jedi. So we're going to do both. I'm just going to snack on these and we're going to talk about Tales of the Jedi. So, excuse the noise. These are Flamin' Hot Cheetos Carolina Reaper. They're supposed to be like sweet and spicy. I've never had them before. I have a fairly good heat tolerance, but it's not great. And I'm most likely going to start to sweat and turn red and possibly hiccup. So this should be really entertaining for you as well as the conversation. So before we even get into it, let's quickly talk reviews about Tales of the Jedi. And yes, I am using chopsticks, as I'm not going to make the mistake of touching my eyes after eating these. Alright. So, Tales of the Jedi was frankly awesome. If you're a Star Wars fan. If you're not a Star Wars fan, it's not going to hold anything for you. Those have a bit of kick on the end. But, like, ultimately, animation-wise, it was pretty solid. There was a couple parts that were a little rough. Looked a little rushed. Specifically, one soup pot in one of the Ahsoka episodes really kind of took me out of it a little bit. But, I mean, whatever. That was a minor thing. Music was excellent. Most of the animation was excellent. And the story was excellent. So, I don't know, 7 out of 10. That said, if you don't like Star Wars already, which why would you be watching this and finding out a review anyways, it's not going to hold much for you. And if also you don't really care about the prequel eras and you don't want to have any of the like context that this show adds, then again, also not going to do anything to you. Starting to sweat a little bit. Back to the Cheetos. These are sweet and spicy. They're not anywhere near my heat limit, though they do build. I'm going to pay for that later. Once you get in the side of your mouth, good chance it's going to just build up there. Drink break. Classic Green Monster. I'm preparing to do a horror movie marathon tonight. It's Saturday before Halloween. So Saturday and Sunday, I usually, before Halloween, watch a bunch of horror movies. So that'll be fun. I'm just getting hyped up for that. Yes, I do drink energy drinks. But I do also drink a lot of water. So balances out, I think. So, anyways, into the meat of it. Let's split the story up into two parts, because the story of the Tales of the Jedi is split into two parts. Ahsoka, and one I really want to talk about, Count Dooku. So, let's get to Ahsoka first. It was cool seeing baby Ahsoka. Though I gotta say, at this point, I'm kind of tired of seeing babies in Star Wars. Not that babies don't exist in Star Wars, obviously. But, you know, we got Grogu, we got baby Ahsoka, yada, yada, yada. I just don't need it. It doesn't appeal to me. So that episode, until we got to see, like, how Ahsoka, like, came into the Force and used the Force for the first time, not to give any real spoilers away, was kind of just unnecessary for me. So, like, the first 5-6 minutes of that episode, and all the episodes are very short, under 20 minutes, was just kind of meh. Like, we already know Ahsoka's cool. We already know, you know, all that. But I won't say what was interesting, and this is a personal thing I really enjoy, was watching Ahsoka's people, these villagers, in this relatively, you know, I don't want to say backwoods, but definitely more nature inclined species and how they were living. I really enjoy that sort of stuff in Star Wars. Same thing can be said for Andor. Sorry, hit my light there. And the same thing can be said for Andor. It's a very good show, but I really enjoy when we get to see the actual culture and the peoples who live in the galaxy far, far away. And the rest of the Ahsoka episodes were kind of just, We knew Anakin really pushed Ahsoka in her training. And we knew that Ahsoka ended up being a badass. We see that in Rebels. We see that in Mandalorian. So honestly, and I don't usually say this, I really think Dave Filoni is doing a pretty good job with Star Wars. But this did really feel fan servicey. It felt like Dave himself had a story he wanted to say about Ahsoka, and he just did it because he can. And it's alright. I'm not complaining about it. I did enjoy those episodes. But compared to the Dooku episodes, which we're going to talk about now, you got nothing. Nothing. The Dooku episodes were amazing, and I'll tell you why. You know, a lot of people are making memes about the jokes, and of course you can talk about the animation and all that stuff. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the simple fact that it was a story about a man with ideals falling to the dark side because of those ideals. And this is the real point of this video. And this is where we're going to get really into it. So I feel like I should eat a few more of these, which are very good, by the way. You can see I'm sweating a little bit. Might turn a little bit red. But these are well within my range of heat. The sweet really helps it. The regular Flamin' Hot Cheetos, I'm not a big fan of. I just don't think they have a lot of flavor, just a lot of spice. Excuse me. So anyways, Dooku. Now, I'm not going to spoil too much, but we see Dooku put in a couple situations where the Jedi Order's way of doing things is woefully inadequate for the situation that's happening. Now, this isn't news. The Jedi Order has been incompetent for policing things for a while. That's the whole reason that the Clone Wars happened. It's the whole reason that Palpatine was able to take power. And the whole reason Luke and later Rey had to pick up all the pieces. Excuse the burp. But honestly, I could write or make a whole video about my problems with the Jedi Order, and I very well might do that in the not too distant future. It sounds like a really fun video. But that's not what we're here about today. We're here specifically about Dooku and his fall. Now, it's pretty clear watching it that Dooku cares about people. I imagine he even cared about people when he fell to the dark side. When you see him in the movies later on, we just don't get to hear why he's doing this evil stuff. We just hear that he's doing it and then he dies. Spoilers. But I would bet that the whole time that Dooku was working with Palpatine, he was doing it because he truly believed that the Republic, and therefore the people within the Republic, needed the extra help. Because he was right. The Republic is, and you see it in his story, woefully inadequate at taking care of the people within it. It is, I'm going to throw out some leftist words, but it's a horribly capitalistic society where only the rich survive and the poor suffer. And the same thing happens when the Empire takes over, which is a little sad for Dooku because, he was hoping that the Empire would be better. But the Empire still kept the capitalism and and brought the fascism way up and the classism way up, adding in a little bit of racism as well. So, the Empire didn't do what it was supposed to do. But I imagine that Dooku believed that it would. So, that's why I'm watching all these episodes. As badass as Dooku might be in these episodes, and as cool as all the stuff that's happening is, the real story there is this one man's struggle with his own politics and his own belief system. And that's really powerful. Star Wars needs to focus more on stories like that, I think. We don't get a lot of stories of people falling to the dark side aside from Anakin. And of course, the reason that Anakin and Dooku are different is that Anakin fell to the dark side out of love. He cared deeply for Padme and for Obi-Wan, and he would do anything to save his family unit because, again, Jedi really screwed that up. Sorry, there's actually like chunks of peppers in these that's like hitting the back of my throat just right. So, Anakin fell to the dark side trying to protect his immediate loved ones. It's a very easy thing for a lot of people to be able to grasp with. But Dooku turning to the dark side was much more big picture. And I do wonder, because we see now that Sith kind of have an eye thing going on. The Sith eyes. And I wonder if Dooku was ever really a Sith. He never got the eyes. I don't know. The eyes are like really the only thing I got going for me there, because he's seen using Force lightning and stuff, and he does some pretty deplorable things. But there's a part of me that believes that he never truly fell completely to the dark side. That he was there specifically for his political ideals and to get a better republic for the people. And I realize I might be repeating myself a little bit now. But I think that when he was betrayed by Palpatine in Episode 3, that you actually really do see a man realizing how badly he's messed up, and not in just a normal, oh my god, I turned to the dark side, now my master is going to have me killed and replaced sort of way, but in a deeply spiritual and political and ethical sense, because he killed his friend. He left the Jedi. He went to the dark side and did a lot of bad stuff on the dark side after Qui-Gon's death. But he did it all for the greater good. And when Palpatine had Anakin murder him, when he looks at Palpatine there, I think it is a man realizing that he voted for the wrong party, basically. He's realized that all of the things that Palpatine has told him are not true. They're not going to come to fruition. That he is an evil dictator, and he will continue to be an evil dictator. And there's nothing that Anakin or anybody else could do to stop it. And I think that Dooku knew in that moment that the Republic was fucked. And he was right. It was ruined. And I think that, again, if the Jedi themselves, I said I wasn't going to talk too much about Jedi, but if the Jedi themselves had ever tried to, figure out why Dooku and other Jedi throughout history have turned to the dark side, I think that things would have been a lot better. Obviously, Yaddle, whatever her name is, Fem Yoda. Obviously, she tried to do the right thing. But it wasn't enough. And I think that can be said for a lot of the Jedi. They try to do the right thing, but it isn't enough. I don't think anybody... I think we can honestly say that nobody after Yaddle even tried to figure out why Dooku turned. They were just like, oh, his Padawan died, so he got sad, and emotions are bad, and he turned to the dark side. But that wasn't it. Clearly. It obviously was part of it. He went through a traumatic event, and he lost someone he loved very deeply, clearly, which definitely did spur him onto his radical political beliefs, but it wasn't the only thing. I would even go so far to say that was a minor aspect of it, because he was already working with Palpatine beforehand, as we clearly see. So, I guess the only question we have left to know, or left to ask, about Dooku was, we know that he was doing stuff without the Jedi's knowledge, but was he doing stuff without Palpatine's knowledge? Is it possible that with this new insight into Dooku, we could get more stories down the road about how Dooku was still working out his own plans while working under Palpatine? I'd like to think yes. I'd really like to think that Dooku clearly, knew that Palpatine couldn't be trusted all the way, and decided, hey, I'm gonna keep doing my own shit for the betterment of the Republic. But I don't think he did. I think after he killed Yaddle, I think he threw himself completely into what Palpatine said. Because And this is a key thing, and it's going to be like the last thing I'm going to touch on about the Jedi, because it's very important. The Jedi do not breed questioning. They breed obedience. They have a very set of rules that everybody must follow. And if you question those set of rules, then you're no longer a Jedi. And because of that, that's why you see Anakin, who turns into Vader, and Dooku, and, you know, I can theorize we don't get a lot of them. Any other Jedi that turns into the dark side, you see two things happen more often than not. Either A, they fully throw themselves into the dark side, they become radical and unpredictable. Think Kylo Ren or Darth Maul, both very intelligent people, but prone to being dark, doing dark side shit. And then you have other ones, like Anakin and Dooku, who just trade the Jedi Order for their master. Even when Darth Vader was trying to recruit Luke Skywalker, his son, to be his right-hand man and take over the place of the Emperor, it was still with this desire to create a family unit, which is something that I think most Jedi desperately are searching for, which is why it's so easy for a Jedi like Dooku to fall to the dark side and follow around Palpatine or any other Sith like a goddamn puppy dog. So, in closing, I personally, and if Dave or anybody else who runs Star Wars sees this, I personally would really like to see more Star Wars where we see people or Jedi fall to the dark side, and more exploration of that. And on a side note, I'd love to see more cultures within Star Wars. It's a little too lack of diversity in culture. It'd be really cool to see, like, you know, how vast this galaxy really is in new ways, because, you know, like, we have Kashyyyk and, you know, all that stuff. We do see alien planets and alien civilizations, but I would like to see more deeper stuff, and, you know, maybe you do too. Anyways, in closing, I've eaten about half this bag. I thought I was going to get through all of it. I'm going to save the rest of it for later. I am sweating a little bit, but I didn't turn red and I didn't get the hiccups, so I'm counting it as a win. If you watched this video and you enjoyed it and you enjoyed my reviews, oh, right, I should probably just give these a quick review. Out of 5, I'm going to give them a 3. They're not the best Cheetos I've ever had. They're not the worst Cheetos I've ever had. I'm probably going to finish them later when my edibles kick in and I'm sitting on a couch watching horror movies. So, you know, they're all right. They're all right. But yeah, if you watch this video and you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe, comment. If you didn't like it, do all those things too, and just comment something mean. I would love to hear it. Anyways, till next time, thank you.